We have Matt Miller from Leader Bank, and we're going to talk to you today about avoiding mistakes and getting a mortgage and purchasing a home. And we want you to take something away that can help you get that home that you want. So, again, Matt Miller, welcome aboard.
Good to see you again, bud.
Great to see you too.
All right.
Always good to see you. Give us an idea of what people can do to prepare themselves so when they go to that open house and they fall in love with the house, to get it, soup to nuts, to make that offer and get that acceptance at Leader Bank or their mortgage company.
Well, I think, a lot of people make the process more difficult than it needs to be. It's pretty simple. Just surround yourself with experts in the process. So if you're a home buyer, whether it's a first-time home buyer or not, you got to have a realtor that does it full-time, not somebody that's just sticking their toe in the water a little bit, doing it part-time on the weekends.
And I bet you see more of that now. Now that the real estate market is booming, everybody wants to become a realtor.
Right.
That's when you need somebody that has experience for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other partner is a lender. A local lender. That's really what the realtors want to see. They don't want somebody who works for a national bank or a national mortgage company. They want somebody that's local, that understands the market, somebody that has relationships locally, and I find that if you start with that, the process is so much more seamless.
So even before going to the open house, if you're inclined at all, if you think you're going to make an offer, you should do some homework, right? You should go with maybe a pre-approval, or how does that work?
Yeah, so what good realtors do is they say, before we get this thing going, are you pre-approved? Have you talked to a lender? If not, you need to do it because, my time is, I'm speaking as a realtor, my time is money. We need to make sure that, we got things buttoned up.
Sure.
So,
I mean, I've seen it. I've seen open houses with 10 or 15 cars out there. And I have to believe that as offers come in and a good realtor is looking, maybe this offer is stronger. It may not be as much, but maybe they're at a local lender or they're pre-qualified. I mean, you seen that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, think of it from the perspective of the listing realtor. Let's say they get 10 pre-approval letters from 10 different banks. And some of them are banks that they are unfamiliar with or aren't local or may not have the stellar reputation of a local lender. Those are the differentiating factors that they're going to go back to their seller with and say, hey, we've got offers that are close, but this particular lender here is somebody who I know has vetted out the buyer to be a qualified one. So.
I would say this to you. I mean, I just personally went through selling a home, and I think time was money for me. And I wanted somebody that could close in 30 days, not 45 or 60 days.
Right.
How do people, when they walk into a home, to make their purchase price, their offer more attractive? Is it just a pre-approval, or how can they make that stronger? Can they, again, dealing with somebody like you, professional?
Yeah, sure. So it's, the pre-approval is really just the generic, everyone's doing that, right? And so what I'm doing right now at Leader Bank is that I'm talking to my clients and I'm having them provide me with their income documentation up front. So instead of just having myself as a loan originator look at it, I'm actually having my underwriter really dig in to make sure that there aren't going to be any issues in getting approved for the loan. So, it's not a mortgage commitment because, the purchase and sale, it's a little premature for that.
Sure.
But at least we can go back, look at the assets, look at the income, and just provide something with a little more meat to it, just to give them that that extra advantage in a competitive market like this.
I think what you just said, which is pretty intriguing to me, is that you're bringing the documents to the underwriter already. Now, is that similar to the underwriter that's going to do the application? I mean, is it going to be that person at that department? Meaning, that person who told you it was a strong candidate. Those are the people that are going to be evaluating it when the application comes in.
At Leader Bank, the answer is yes. Yeah. But at other lenders, the answer is don't know.
Sure.
I have the same, myself included, 4 people who are part of my team that work on every single one of my files. Yeah. Same underwriter, same loan processor. I have an upfront assistant that helps me sort of tie everything in. And there's constant communication back and forth, but there's also an internal synergy between the four of us to make sure everything goes smooth.
Let
And,
me
I,
ask
and I
you-
know that doesn't happen everywhere.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, what do people need to bring to you or to a good originator? Tax returns, pay stubs. What do they need to do to be prepared to get that pre-approval, to be that quick to go out to these open houses and make a competitive bid?
So you want W-2s, tax returns, pay stubs, the
Okay.
standard stuff. You know, the days of, you know, going back to 2008 again, when we're talking about,
No income verified?
Yeah, those days are long gone.
Sure.
But the big thing too is the bank statements. You know, we want to make sure that we're looking at those bank statements to not only identify the actual money that's in the account, but are there any miscellaneous deposits in there that we need to identify up front? And you know, there could be some gift funds that come into play
Sure.
that we want to source, and so to do all that stuff up front, it just makes for a real easy transition throughout the process.
And so obviously one of the mistakes people can avoid is being prepared, right, and having a pre-approval and having these documents handy. Anything else that you can think of that our that our listeners and our watchers can do to make the process easier for them?
So at the beginning of the process, have that plan, have that team in place, and then if you're fortunate enough to get your offer accepted and things are moving along, listen to those team members. And so one of the things I always talk to my clients about is, if you're, from the time you make an offer to the time you close, if there's going to be any significant purchase, car, your lease is up, you got to get a new car, got to go out and buy some furniture, whatever it is, talk to me first before doing that, because if you're going out and you're adding debt,
Sure.
that could potentially impact whether or not you get a loan, what the loan program
Because of your
you're
credit score.
eligible for,
Right.
credit score and debt or debt ratios.
Excellent.
And so those are the things. I mean, I've had people that I've talked to, you find out along the way they've bought another home during that process, and you find that out because another mortgage company may have pulled their credit or
Sure.
something like that. So there's, we've been doing it long enough. There's some crazy stuff that might go down.
No, but I can see that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
your offer is accepted. You want to go furnish the home. You're going down to Jordan's. You're hoping for that no-hit, right? So you can get all
Right.
your furniture for free. You open
Yeah.
up a 5-10 grand credit, and you could very well disqualify yourself from that
Sure.
purchase.
Right.
Never thought of that.
Yeah, always, before you do something like that, call me. And the other thing too is, you go through this process and all of a sudden a family member comes to you and says, you know what, I've sort of saved this for you, knowing that this day would come.
Yeah.
Here's X amount of dollars that I'd like you to put towards your home. And so that gets deposited in. Might not be a big deal because gift funds are absolutely legitimate funds.
Okay.
But there's a process to that. Gift letters, sourcing where the money's coming from. And so those are things that we just want to identify up front to just keep the process, on the rails.
Well, you bring up a great point, right? For somebody that's local, you can have that conversation.
Right.
Try that conversation with an 800 number
Right.
or a website.
Oh, yeah.
Where did that money come from? It could take
Exactly.
days, could delay it.
Right.
And in this day and age, as interest rates fluctuate, right, it could cost yourself a lot of money too.
Absolutely.
What else
Yeah.
do you see? Anything else that you can foresee for our viewers to, take into account before they put that offer in, or anything else they can do to expedite the process?
Well, I would say identify your price point range,
Yeah.
and really the towns that you're willing to live in.
Mhm.
I mean, every town is different. Especially once you get inside that 128 belt.
Sure.
The price per square foot is a lot different than if you get outside that 128 belt. Then you talk about condos in and around the city. I mean, focus on dealing with a realtor who is in that geographic area.
And staying local.
Staying local. Right.
Go with the experts.
Right.
Great.
And it's not only having that relationship with somebody that knows the area, but the people on the seller side that you're ultimately going to be working with, there's most likely a relationship there as well.
Between the realtors.
Between the realtors. I can't tell you, when I am working with clients and the purchase and sale agreement comes over, which is the binding document between the buyer-seller, the first thing I do, I look on there and I see who the seller's attorney is.
Okay.
Is it somebody that I've worked with before? Is it somebody I have a relationship with?
And maybe there's certain expectations that attorney has
Yeah.
and another one doesn't.
Sure.
Again, dealing with somebody that knows.
And I'll reach out to them directly and say, hey, if anything comes up, don't hesitate to give me a call. And, if there is something that is a little bit off base during the process, having that relationship I have no problem reaching out to that attorney and saying, hey, we're all right here.
Okay.
Because the one thing that you have to understand, it's an emotional process for everybody involved, but especially for the buyer and the seller.
Oh, sure.
And so the better job you can do of just keeping emotions in check and just keeping everybody comfortable with what's going on and managing those expectations, it just helps create a process that doesn't have all the crazy ups and downs. So
I would say this to you. I mean, I've learned a lot today. I never thought about raising my credit, making a purchase that could kick me out or get me a higher rate, or getting me disqualified to begin with. Never thought of that. Never thought about getting that pre-qualification with somebody that can get it to an appraiser or somebody first and make sure that it makes sense. So I've learned a lot. I hope you did too. Matt Miller at Leader Bank. Thanks again.
Thanks, bud. It's
Take
good
care.
to see you.
Good to see you too.